platform we're on, Brother Rich. But if there are any questions regarding that program, let me know.
Yeah, I'm gonna be taking a few questions. Somebody says, will we have access to the recordings if they can't attend live?
The recordings are only going to be on my new website. The reason why it's been held up, and I know I've been talking about it since the last two, is because of the webinars themselves and each of the platforms that I've been on to test, do a beta test on. After they've seen the content, they've dropped it. So we're looking for a platform that are not going to, and I don't mean, we want a platform that has a very, very high ceiling of bits and bytes or whatever they call those, because, my lectures are very long. And so they're going to take up a lot of space when they're streamed. So that's what we've been looking for all this time to get the right one so that people are not interrupted, that it doesn't freeze on them, and so forth. So we have about maybe 7 or 8 videos, or actually webinars, each of them at least 7 hours, some with breaks, some with not. But please, if you are interested, you can also go to our website, the university's website, not only to sign up, but you could sign up your email address and join our mailing list. Just go to uksnow.org. That's U as in United, K as in King, S as in Science, NOW.org, and click where it says contact, and then fill out the form there, and then you'll be added to our mailing list.
Indeed. Doc, the first question I want to ask you before I get to more questions from the people is in terms of the school system. Now, I have a young son, and obviously we see all the insanity happening, whether it's Buffalo or whether it's other places. But the whole school system, even college, and them just ripping people off, leaving people in debt. Is this even going to exist 10 years from now? Like, what
No,
should we do with? Look, talk to me, Doc.
you hit it. You hit it so right on there, brother. School as we know it is dead. School does not educate, it indoctrinates. We know it's there to destroy us from within. This country is under attack. It's been under attack for the last 25, 30 years, ever since the assassination of our leaders and the rise of feminism. That was the destroyer of our community. It destroyed what was the glue to our community, the love and attraction and the things that we held strongly. The language was introduced. Remember, I don't know if you were there when I was trying to alert people to the Beijing conference, the feminist women's conference, when they said that part of their protocols for achieving over the next 20 years was to change the language. In other words, they were going to destroy any part of the language that dealt with the dichotomy between male and female.
Mm.
That was one of the protocols in the 1996 Beijing Women's Conference. They gathered together to plan how to undermine the culture and destroy the infrastructures, hacking the language, and
Mhm.
then changing up the educational dynamic so that the masculine and feminine principle were to be grayed. The line between them was going to be erased. And you see it happen very slowly now. It was very, very well done.
Mhm.
And now we have words that were introduced like misogynist and, all these words that have to do with the denigration of the masculine principle.
Mhm.
Masculinity was at part of that protocol from the Beijing conference. Masculinity was to be upended and usurped. Leadership in the home, the delegation of roles, all of that was to be destroyed because people don't understand that there was a nuance to society, a nuance to making families. And if you remove the nuance, which was the natural attraction and connection that we had to one another, and if you were to place words in between that to circumvent and to make people feel guilty about feeling a certain way about being a man, about being a woman, then you would engender that in generations to come, almost like the so-called Willie Lynch syndrome.
Right, right, right.
You see, you
Mm-hmm.
just you train the mother and you make sure that you isolate her from the father, and then make the state and the enslaver be the ruler and her husband, so that since he's feeding her or it's feeding her, it becomes the one she listens to. And remember, she is the first teacher of our children
Mm-hmm.
from the very womb. So everything now has been turned upside down. Feminism and the change in the education system, the feminization of boys, the masculinization of girls, that's not an accident. That would never happen in a society. That was planned. It's orchestrated, funded, and the infrastructures for the destruction of this country is in place. How is it that with the fact that you just 4 years ago, 5 years, 6 years ago, you were making your own fuel? I'm just jumping off the road for a second.
Mm-hmm.
You had your own gas. Gas was down to $1.79
Mm-hmm.
a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
Then the ones who were supposed to have been in before years prior to the time that this dude Trump was in, they were supposed to have actually done that. Now they got to fast track it. This was supposed to have been done 4 years, 5 years, 6 years ago. We're supposed to have been here this way 6 years ago. Trump came in and did a sidestep to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And now they had to catch up, which is why things just seem to be falling in places. Why is this happening so fast? It's because they had to catch up with themselves. And so now you see gas is up to $7 a gallon. And he told you that. So am I for Trump? I'm not for anybody. I'm for the one who's showing me, not telling me nothing. So how do you shut down gasoline production and then go over to the OPEC countries and say, ship me your oil? Or go to Russia and ask for oil when you were actually you were the biggest exporter of oil 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There is an attack against the United States. It's subtle, it's sublime, and it's eroding the infrastructures, the economic, social, political, educational infrastructures are all being eroded.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see it happen when the banks begin to fail.
Mm-hmm. Now, talk to me about a little bit about the metaverse.
Mhm.
Now, I invested in a couple of NFTs. I dealt with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. I talked to you behind the scenes about XRP and everything like that. Now, with the metaverse, um, do you think? Because we had to tell. All right, we have these telepathic abilities, right, Doc? So the
Mhm.
telephone kind of messed that up. Instead of user telepathy, we get on the phone and call somebody. We used to use our brain in the car. Now we got GPS. We don't know how to get down the street without putting our GPS on our phone. Uh, instead of talking to somebody on the phone, we rather text them. So is this just another version of like people seem like it's the end of the world, the metaverse, or it's just another version of technology slowly but surely making dumbing us down? Like, how bad do you think the metaverse is? Because we already got all types of shit that's messing with our spiritual gifts already.
Here you go. It's a distraction from the journey that this plane of existence and at this particular time we're supposed to have been paying attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, the most precious thing you have, beloved, and that goes for everybody out there, is your attention span.
Mm-hmm.
Your attention is the most precious commodity on earth. Either the Most High has it, either the path that you've chosen that calls you upon it has it,
Mm-hmm.
either your family has it, or this beast who's controlling everything, who's manipulating everything, who's corroding, eroding, and destroying everything slowly but surely has it. And at this point, when you picked up the phone, your plastic phone, everybody has turned cyborg now. Your attention, your most precious commodity, no longer is upon yourself and is no longer independently thinking. You are thinking along the lines that the artificial intelligence has created for you to think along. So, artificial intelligence right now has become the new brain lock. You don't know that you're being artificially manipulated through artificial intelligence because this is just your mundane reality. You get rewarded, just like the rat that finds its way through the maze gets to drink the water or get the sweet taste or whatever it is, the nugget.
Mm, mm,
Now you got the metaverse. That's your new maze for the rat. You go in there and you get your reward. Oh, I can make millions. And then who do they use? They use all of the rappers and the superstars and the people who got money. And they're saying to the people who do have money, you want to keep your status and make sure that these thousand-headed ass, this useless eater and useless breeder, you want to make sure that you can actually maintain them at that level. Well, why don't you put up one of your Rembrandt arts, or your Shakespearean books, or whatever it is? Put that up there and put that as a net NFT, and have them make money from something they don't even own. You tell them they own a little piece of it. You kind of give them a little bit of, you break off a crumb from the bread that you've been eating on the loaf, and you throw it out there for them to jump on it. People don't understand what this is about because it's so rich, it's so new, the rewards are coming. That's how a drug dealer hooks people. Come on now. They tell you, let me give you a taste. Come into this metaverse. But he told you, remember, the Illuminati is supposed to tell you exactly what it is they intend to do. And this Knuckleberg, what's his name? He
oh,
told you,
Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg.
well, Knuckleberg to
You
me,
know, yeah, okay, yeah.
he told you, I
Mhm.
can control everything about you. He said it. You come in here, I control the weather, I control the time, I control you. He said it to you. And everybody's jumping in feet first. It's insane. I don't know nothing about the metaverse to the point where you're telling me about what it is that it has all the amenities and the good, but everything that looks good up front. Have you ever been able to trust this beast with anything? Anything that looks good at the beginning? It's not for everybody. They're going to tell you it's for everybody because they want everybody. The whole thing is control. There is no game, there is only control. And that's going to be part of the theme that I'm going to be talking about, the psychological hook that they got you in here playing their game. But there is no game. Everything that you think is a game is part of the control.
So Doc, so all right, we got Zuckerberg and all of them. Then we got AI. I'm trying to figure out, is AI you know, we talked about this before. I don't want to sound like a nut. Is how conscious is AI in terms of, now listen, I'm late at night. I had a show with a brother named Kwame Sunhorse. So I let my girl do something because she had to do something after my show, and I put my son to bed. After I put my son to bed, I went to the kitchen area and decided to read this book. I read this book called I Am Saint Germain. I was reading through this book that I haven't seen in a while, so I picked it up, started reading through it. You know, just talking about affirmations and stuff like that. And you know, I was tired. I put it away. I woke up this morning, turned on my computer, went to YouTube, and I had suggested videos that said Saint Germain, I am. Now I didn't say the word I am out loud. I didn't tell my girl I was reading I am. I didn't mention, I just had the book in front of my computer. So how is the computer so sophisticated where I wish I had the book in front of me. I just got this book in front of it and it's able to suggest that book or readings from that book the very next day. That shit, it's spooky, bro. It's spooky, doc.
I
Crazy,
keep
man.
telling you, I told man when I spoke about this 10 years, 12 years ago, about the fact that you are in the matrix, you are in a a programming,
Mm,
and that I forgot the name of the dude who did it. He came out with it long before the Matrix. I forgot the name of the author, but he spoke about that. You got to remember, I was telling you about this thing that they were doing, what they were putting into people through
mm,
that way that we can't talk about.
mm,
And there's a feedback going on. Remember, you are telling the AI everything about you. Look at Facebook.
mm.
I mean, everything short of an anal probe is there about your life
Oh man.
on there at this particular time. All they have to do is crunch the data and just come up with hypothetics. The computer is very intelligent because it self learns. Why? Because 20 years ago, I told you they were using human engrams and human cerebral tissue on the actual, they were fusing cerebral tissue from humans
On the computer.
onto, yes, computers, silicone
Wow.
chips.
Wow.
And so the computers began to learn like humans.
Hmm.
It was trained, of course, like a child. They said they had a computer. It was 10, 20 years ago. The computer had the intelligence skill of a 5-year old
This was
back
20
then.
years ago.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you can imagine what it is doing right now. This thing is graduated. It's probably a scholar.
So do you think, was it the camera or is it actually reading our minds?
You
Because
remember
I
the
didn't say.
energy?
Yeah.
Remember that the metaphysical awakening of the melanated mind.
Hmm.
You got to wake back up because you're being put to sleep by the virtual reality, not reality. Virtual reality is that's the off ramp to destruction, to your own mental and spiritual destruction. They're going to tell you it's going to enhance your spirituality, but that's because there are people who don't know how to access the spirit. They can't access that internal dialogue that they're having with themselves because that the language and the person that they're talking to doesn't belong to them. They have an intruder inside, and that is the words and the language of someone that doesn't belong to them on their frequency. And everything about what's going on right now with technology is to set up disruptive frequencies to your higher consciousness. Okay, what it might have been reading at that time, because you might have plugged in somewhere along the line, mentioned it. And if you were standing anywhere around anything that had a two-way, a camera, you may have mentioned it, something. It's putting two and two together, and it's locking up with your psychology because it's already know your. Look, you're a celebrity itself. You're on the air all the time. You're telling people about yourself. You're telling me about yourself, and we're having this wonderful discourse. This thing is crunching data constantly.
Hmm.
It's the beast, and it's going to and this is why you have this guy Elon Musk talking about getting inside of your brain. I talked about that in the last one.
Hmm. Hmm.
He's getting into your brain. He wants to be able to lock you in so that you could operate your, oh, how fascinating. You can operate your car. You can operate your thing with this. You can operate, but then then they operate in you now.
Hmm.
You understand? So yes, it probably heard what you were saying. If you got a camera on your phone and you ain't blocked off that camera like I did, if you notice, you'll see that I have on my camera right here. You see that little pearl that I put
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
put that there. And there's one in the back of my phone too. The other cameras that they pick up, there's some form of privacy you need for yourself. I know that they got everything. I mean, they're listening to every call that you make. They're crunching the data for specific words, just like the algorithm. Why do you think the algorithm and the beast that is listening to this right now is not on tune looking for words? They're waiting for certain words so that they
Hmm.
can definitely shut you down.
Yeah.
They're in your brain. That's why I'm saying everything that you are dealing with right now is based on disruption. Everything is based on disruptive frequencies to your advancement in consciousness. You're getting conscious, but conscious that's being diverted away. into a mechanical form of consciousness. You and the brain of that AI are becoming one. So you're going to start thinking like the AI.
Mm.
And the AI is what? Sexless. It's gender neutral.
Mm.
Ain't that what you want? That's what they want you to be?
Hence, that's why we what's the term they use? Binary. They're
Yeah.
saying all these terms.
Non
Okay.
binary.
Non-binary. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who are you talking about? Binary was the first code that they used in in the computers. Zeros and ones. That was the binary system that started the computer system. Now that the computer system has become damn near human, they have to now make it non-binary because they've gone to a whole other level of calculating data now, crunching data. So you are in the computer. Your thoughts, they've already found a way to map the Akasha, which is what we're going to be speaking about on Sunday. They're mapping the Akasha. The thoughts of your ancestors are being disrupted through harp, through suya, which is the Russian form of harp. They have set up a frequency fence around the dome.
Hmm. Do you have plans to eventually go off grid or to leave all technology alone, like your computer or your phone? Like, what do you
That's
think?
and you jumped ahead. You must have peeked in my notebook. Huh?